Celebrating the incarnation of consciousness in the form of Bhagwan Sri Ram. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srajanya paritranaya sadhunam vinashachaya dushkritam dharma samsthapanataya shambhavani juge juge. When there is a decline of righteousness and a rise in all righteousness, I incarnate myself to come and to protect the good people and to destroy the wicked. Devotees, how an appropriate sloka for this morning, this evening. I'm doing an evening service where the God will manifest himself again another time. So many times he has come. And for us at the BHARAT SEVASHRAM Sheng, let us pay adoration to that Guru, because Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranava. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranava. Namo Namah, Namo Namah, Namo Namah, Namo Namah, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Prabhu Namo Namah. Tumhi Brahma Vishnu, Tumhi Maheshwara, Devadi Deva Mahadevaya Namah. Tumhi Harihara, He Trishuladhari, Tumhi Bholanath Prabhu Krishna Murari. Niti Navarupe So Pranavananda, Eshu Hiray Murchirvananda. Nayana Variyadike Rupa Varupa, Dhyan Magana Guru Devaya Namah. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranamaya. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranamaya. When the Guru comes, he comes as in our Guru Maharaj, he comes as the creator, as a sustainer, and the destroyer. He comes as Lord Brahma, he comes as Lord Vishnu, and he comes as Lord Shiva. All when consciousness manifests itself, God without a name and form, the God who is Satchidanand, truth, consciousness and bliss, the God who is omnipotent, all-powerful, the God who is omnipresent, all-pervading, the God who is omniscient. He knows the past, present, and future. He knows everything. When he takes that form, oh, what a beautiful thing. And he would have said he will come so many times. But this evening we are worshipping as Bhagwan Sri Ram. And, the story would have been so beautiful that when Havani Yajna is performed, that fire sacrifice by the saints and the sages of yore, and unto this day, that fire sacrifice is so powerful. Om Mayanta Irmayatma Jata Virastinirasva Vardasva Chera Vardaya Chashman Prajaya Pashubhi Brahma Varchasena Anadhena Samiraya Swaha Idamagnai Jata Vedase Idam Namama. Ganeshji cleared the way for us that we are making this offering to you so that you will provide all the protection and all the earthly needs. And now we do it to Lord Shiva and all the incarnation of Lord Shiva, including Swami Parameshananda ji. Om Mayanta Irmayatma Jata Virastinirasva Vardasva Chera Vardaya Chashman Prajaya Pashubhi Brahma Varchasena Ananadena Samiraya Swaha Iramagnaye Jata Vedase Iram Namama. Just do Mansika Puja. Now we do for Mother Durga and all the incarnations of Mother Durga, including Mother Saraswati, Mother Lakshmi. Om Ayante Mayatma Jata Virastinirasva Vardasva Chera Vardaya Chashma Prajaya Pashubhi Brahma Varchasena Nadena Samiraya Swaha Iramagnaye Jata Vedase Iram Namama. Now we do it for all incarnations of Vishnu Bhagwan, the sustainer, the Dasa avatar, and including Bhagwan Sri Ram, Bhagwan Sri Krishna, the Buddha, and all the other incarnations of Vishnu Bhagwan. Om Ayante Mayatma Jata Virastinirasva Vardasva Chera Vardaya Chashman Prajaya Pashubhi Brahma Varchasena Ananadhena Samiraya Swaha Iramagnaye Jata Vedase Iram Namama. We do it for Surya Narayan and fire, because without fire we cannot have heat. Without fire, the food cannot digest in our body. Without fire in the form of the sun, we cannot have light. And without the sun, we cannot have, the planets cannot stay in orbit, including our Mother Earth. So we do this for sun and the Navgraha. Om Ayante Mayatma Jata Vedastinedasva Vardasvacheda Vardaya Chashma Prajaya Pashuvi Brahma Varchasena Anadena Samedaya Swa Idam Agnaye Jata Vedase Idam Namama. We got all the deities here with us. We made offerings to them, thank them, and keep them, and realize that without all these deities, we've covered them all, that we cannot survive. So when the saints of yore, they were doing the Havan in time of before the birth of Bhagavan Sri Ram, Ravan came, that king, and he would have had his men pour bones and blood into their fire worship. And the saints, they were terrorized for a long time. They couldn't do worship. And then they give up. And they went to Mother Earth in the form of the cow. And they said, Mother, you have to help us, because with this fire worship, nothing can go on. The protection and the power of the fire cannot be performed. And they went and they went to Lord Brahman. They said, Lord Brahman said, I created all of this universe. You have to go to Vishnu Bhagwan because he's the sustainer. That's his job. And then when they went to him, Vishnu Bhagwan was laughing. He was in the Sheshnag in the Milky Ocean, and Mother Lakshmi was at his feet. And he laughed and he says, how can I help you? And then they related the story. And he nicely said it, forget about it, I'll take care of it, have no fear. And devotees, from that time we know we were waiting for the Leela to start of the coming of Bhagavan Sri Ram. And then through that miracle, the fire, out of the fire came that nourishment for the 3 queens of King Dasarath, and the 4 brothers were born. And of course they were taken to the Gurukul, and they learned all the arts of all kinds of knowledge on warfare. So they were thorough, and they went through the Gurukul under the guidance of Guru. And then the journey of them started. Now they're all grown up and they started their journey. And first they went, and one of the journey that I'd like to bring for you today, one of the journey that Bhagavan Sri Ram, that he went to that mountain, Pamba River, and going up there, said Mother Suri was waiting for him. And this illiterate woman who stood her ground when a sacrifice was for an animal was wanted to be done for her marriage, she just said, no, why should that happen? Why should a life be given up for my happiness? And she just left, and she saw Matang Rishi clearing the path from the mountain down. When we go to Sabrimala Ayappa Swami, there she is, the Savory Padam is there. And then I can remember twice I went there, we will make offerings to that spot. So Bhagavan Sri Ram would have recognized that Mother Suri has that Nauda Bhakti, and then she was liberated. And the journey continues. But there is a place in Nasik where this is the Leela of the Lord is going on. That when I visit there, there's a cave, and supposedly the true Mother Sita would have been in that cave, where the Chaya, the reflection of her, would have gone, was captured by Ravan, taken to Lanka. And we all know that story. So this Leela of the Lord is so powerful that Mantara, she was put in place there to cause the banishment of Bhagavan Sri Ram. And this is what the journey with Bhagwan Sri Mother Sita and Lakshman. So if that mantra was not there to prevent Bhagwan Sri Ram from becoming the king, then there would have been no Ramayana, it would have been ended. And then when Mother Sita would have crossed that circle that was put around her by Lakshman for protection, if she had crossed it, then Ramayana would have been ended because Ravan would not have captured her and taken her to Lanka. So the Leela of the Lord is so dramatic. And when you look at it from this perspective, the drama of the Lord, then you understand how the incarnation of Vishnu Bhagwan as Bhagwan Sri Ram would have gone. And when all this in our ashram in Nepal, we would have gone to Janakpur for flood relief, and for Ramnavmi is a big celebration there. That this is where the Swayambhu of Bhagwan Sri Ram and Mother Sita. And who was Mother Sita? An incarnation of Lakshmi and Lakshmi Ma. And who was Bhagwan? The incarnation of Vishnu Bhagwan. So this Vishnu Bhagwan and Mother Lakshmi, they are the same as Bhagwan Sri Ram and Mother Sita. So it is all a Leela, devotees, and we should understand it as such. Why am I saying this? Because our life is a Leela also. But we have to understand this Leela and let us not come out of the illusion. The same illusion and the lesson taught by Bhagwan Sri Ram and Incarnation and the four brothers and all King Dasrath. So I can remember our ashram in Gaya. Why people go to Gaya for Pitri Puja? Because that's where Mother Sita would have performed Pitri Puja for King Dasrath and his father-in-law in the absence of Bhagwan Sri Ram. And we could have seen the footprint of Bhagwan Sri Ram there in that temple. That's why Gaya is the premier place for puja, for Pitri Puja, because it was done by Mother Sita. So the history of our Bhagwan Sri Ram and the brothers is so powerful that let us see it from that way. That Ravanji wasn't an ordinary person. He had so much powers. And it was his last birth in this one. And to be killed by a god, by Bhagwan Sri Ram, that's liberation right away. So this whole thing about the battle of in Lanka, this was all like a drama playing itself out. So nothing to worry about, is the Lord's play, and we have to understand it for that way. Let us sing this nice thing. Bandava Guru Parama Paraga Surachi Subhasa Sarasa Anuraga Bandava Guru Parama Paraga Surachi Subhasa Sarasa Anuraga Amiya Muri Bhai Churan Charu Amiya Muri Bhai Churan Charu Samana Sakal Bhava Ruji Parivaru Samana Sakal Bhava Ruji Parivaru Jai Rama Sri Ram Jai Jai Rama Sri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama Jai Rama Sri Ram Jai Jai Rama Sri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama. You know, these incarnations, Lord Shiva, Bhagwan Sri Ram, Bhagwan Sri Krishna, they enjoy the Leela of each other's. And sometimes during these Leelas, they will reappear and shower blessings on all of the incarnation of that period. And we've seen that done with Lord Rama. In our period of time, there was a time that Swami Parameshananda, when he was doing his meditation, once Swamiji would have had this vision of him while the Swamiji was doing meditation in Bajitpur, in Madaripur ashram, I think. He would have seen the gods and goddesses showering flowers to Swami Parameshananda. This happened one night in his meditation, the next night in his meditation, and then the next day he approached Swami Parameshananda after he had told his brother monks that this Swami Parameshananda is no other than God, who the gods worship. So, and from then on, Swami Parameshananda was put on the altar instead of the Om was worshipped. Now he's put on the altar, and the monks would have washed his feet, put chandan in it, put flowers and spray perfume, put a mala around his neck, and do arti to him like we're doing. So our Guru Maharaj is no other than, is the same as Krishna Bhagwan. He's same as Bhagwan Shiva. They're all the same. They might come with different name and forms at different time, but they are all manifestations of consciousness. Let us prepare for the Guru Arti. Hare Guru Shankara Shiva Shambho, Hare Guru Shankara Shiva Shambho, Om Hare Guru Shankara Shiva Shambho, Hare Guru Shankara Shiva Shambho, Hare Guru Shankara Shiva Shambho, Hare Guru Shankara Shiva Shambho. Om Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Jale asmin snanidim kuru. Om Kurukshetra Gaya Ganga Prabhasa Pushkarani cha Tirtanyatani Punyani Kale Bhavantuham. Om Amrito Pastarnamasi Swaha, Amrita Pidha Namasi Swaha, Om Satyam Yashas Rimahi Sretam Swaha, Om Shanno Devi Ravishtaya Apo Bhavanta Pite Shanno Ravi Sravantunam. Om Vak Vak, Om Prana Prana, Om Chakshu Chakshu, Om Srotram Srotram, Om Nabhi, Om Hridayam, Om Kantaham Siraha, Om Bahobhyam Yashubalam, Om Karatala Karapushte, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamadachyate, Purnasya Purnamadhaya, Purnamevavashishyate. Hari Om Shanti Shanti Hari Om. Om Namaha Paramatmane Namaha. Om Sahasra Shirisha Purusha Sahasrakshu Sahasrapad Sabhumin Sarvato Smritva Atyatishta Dashangulam. Om Sarvatoh Pani Param Tat Sarvatoh Akshishiro Mukam Sarvatoh Sruti Maloke Sarvamavritya Tishtati. Om Jyoti Shama Pita Jyoti Tamasaha Paramuchyate. Jnanam Jyam Jnanagamyam Riddhi Sarvasya Vishtitam. Om Gati Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivashaho Sharanam Suri Prabhu Pralaya Sthanam Nidhanam Bijamapayam. Om Tvamadi Deva Purusho Puranam Tvamasya Visvasya Param Nidhanam Tvamabhaya Swasvato Dharma Gupta Sanatanastvam Purusho Matomi. Om Pitasi Lokasya Characharasya Tvamasya Pujasya Garurgayam Natvatsamo Asti Abhyadika कुतो अन्यो लोकत्रयी अपि अप्रतिमं प्रभावो ॐ करो जया गुरु ॐ करो जया शिवा 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 ॐ करो जया गुरु ॐ करो जया शिवा ॐ करो जया गुरु ॐ करो जया शिवा करो जया गुरु ॐ करो जया शिवा ॐ करो जया गुरु ॐ करो जया शिवा ॐ करो जया गुरु ॐ करो जया शिवा ॐ करो जया गुरु ॐ करो जया शिवा Well, let us do the final closing prayer and let us all set ourselves up. Take a flower. Imagine you have a flower in your hand. Do the Mansika Puja. And let us all pray. Because the greatest prayer is to silence the body and the mind. Because when that is silenced, then the language of God has come to us. The language of silence. That's the language of God. Let us speak His language. Meditation. Om Jnanam Timirandasya Jnanam Janashalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Om Mantra Satyam Puja Satyam Satyam Deva Niranjana Gurur Vakyam Sara Satyam Satyameva Paramam Param Om Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatparam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Om Pitri Matri Surira Bandhu Vidyatirtani Devatam Natulyam Guruna Sekram Sparshayet Paramam Param. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Om Jnana Moolam Guru Murti Puja Moolam Guru Param Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukaram Kevalam Dhyanamurti Dandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadhi Laksham. Om Ekam Nityam Bhimalam Chalam Sarvara Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Guru Kripahi Kevalam Guru Kripahi Kevalam. Om Guru Kripahi Kevalam Guru Kripahi Kevalam Guru Kripahi Kevalam Guru Kripahi Kevalam. Om Bolo Sisi Shankar Bhavan Ki Jai. Bolo Sisi Bhagwan Sri Ramachandra Ki Jai. Bolo Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan Ki Jai. Bolo Sisi Bhagwan Buddha Ki Jai. Sad Santan Ki Jai Jai Sitaram. Bolo Sisi Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Well, devotees, nice to have you again. You know, prayer can be done anytime and every time. So here's a nice picture of Bhagwan Sri Ram. And I like this picture. It's like different. And the altar, how beautiful it is. Little altar, nice and beautiful. Well, I send blessings to you on behalf of the organization, BHARAT SEVASHRAM. And this is all coming true as I'm an instrument in the hands of Guru Maharaj. And he's the one that is guiding and protecting. Well, have a beautiful evening and let your rest of your life be one, thinking that you are in the lead of God. You yourself is a manifestation of that consciousness. We are spiritual beings having a human experience rather than human beings having a spiritual experience. They're different because one takes us right up to our realization and the other one keeps us in the plane of the illusion. Hari Om Shanti, Shanti, Hari Om.